Hey there, it's Brendan, and I wanted to take a quick moment to explain why there is not a new episode of If I Knew You Better this week. I had planned to do a solo show and cover a lot of ground about current events, recent events, some upcoming things from me. But for various reasons, this was not the week to do it, as it turns out. I do these very much in the moment. I don't like them to sit on a shelf if possible. I have several great interviews lined up. I have a few in the can, and I have several that I'm planning to do after the release of this solo show. I will do that for next week. This week, though, I did want to take just a quick moment. I'll probably do this in less than 3 minutes and tell you about one of my other podcasts. I co-host a show called How China Works with a Chinese female millennial named Yingying Li. This week on How China Works, Yingying interviews someone who I could have just as easily had on this show if I knew you better. She interviews film director Malcolm Clarke. He is an Academy Award-winning documentary filmmaker. His most recent film is Better Angels, and that film looks at how the U.S. and China are inextricably linked in this interdependent, sort of codependent relationship, and how we basically have to solve some of the problems that are facing us with new tools and how we have to use kind of new eyes to examine these things that are before us. And it has just received praise upon praise, and it is coming out in China on July 2nd. It's been out in the West already for a while. And I think this interview, I feel like I can brag on it because I did not do the interview. My co-host did. I was not able to join them. So since you listen to this podcast, I really think that you might enjoy this particular episode and several of the other interviews as well on How China Works. I'm going to put the links in the show notes here. You can also search How China Works in all the podcatchers. You can visit us at howchinaworkspodcast.com to connect with us online that way. But for now, I'm going to say thank you for listening, and I will see you next week with a new episode of If I Knew You Better.